We're gonna stay on the rodeo talk a little bit, and one of my favorite all time stories, and I laugh about it every time I hear somebody else's version of it, right? And you say this is the first time podcasting right here. I want to hear the story, and you can start from the very beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like how it all. You guys were sprightly, showing up over there, ready to rope at Lakeside, and
Yeah.
just it. Yeah,
I want to thank Professional's Choice again for many great years of endorsements. I do. I know that their main place is in El Cajon, California, which is right near there. They did call me management or HR. Let's just go with HR. Might have called me after the fight and said, "Hey, look, you as an endorsee probably don't want to do that again." I wasn't wearing the shirt. I never wore a shirt to the bar that had any monogram because I knew that there was something that might happen. So I don't wear the shirt, but then it was just too close to Dow, Monte Chris, all those guys at Professional's Choice that had just done a pretty good job of making sure that Britt's name was out there. So I respect that. Then the next day they'd called and said, and they told me that. And I was like, yes, sir, it'll never happen again. And he goes, I just wanted you to know, and this is before we start the story, he said, I just wanted you to know that that bar is just, because San Diego, of course, is Navy SEAL.
It's a military.
When you think of San Diego, you think, hey, yeah, man, great. The Chargers and Navy SEALs and their training and what they do. Well, this fucking bar just happens to be their spot. So, I mean, when the SEALs get done at San Diego, they might drive to this little old spot in between El Cajon and Lakeside and go hang out. Well, that just happened to be where 8-10 of us that had just been to Tijuana all day, and just decided we wanted to come back. Steve Priscilla, my partner at the time, decided, hey, I'm not going to. He'll always say that he's quite a bit smarter for that, and he was at that time. Not all the time, but he told me not to go, and I'm like, I'm going to the bar. So we ended up going to the bar. Another friend of mine named Troy Murray had a cowboy hat on. And we were having a pretty decent time. And I can remember the bar being pretty open. And then on the other side, there were some pool tables. And then on out back is kind of maybe the smoking section, but it was a pretty good area as well. So I had made my way with a drink, and I'm scrolling and looking around just like I normally would. I'm plenty drunk by the time I get there at this point. So we get in there, and there's this guy. Eventually, he comes up there to me, and I can remember being kind of standing above him. And BJ Campbell was the nearest tough guy that I was going to call upon during this time. And this is how BJ fits into this story. So we go in this bar. This one guy's kind of being stupid and ignorant. You can tell he's a city guy. In the front main bar, let me not forget to tell you about the Samoan bartender. I mean, he's large. He's big enough to burn diesel. He's a big man. And they say don't fuck with Samoans, period. They're right. You don't want to fuck with someone. So he's up front. We go on around. Here's a pool table. Here's this guy that looks over at me and goes, hey, you know what? I don't like these cowboy hats up in here. And I'm like, oh, just drunk enough that at that time, my oaky ass had just overloaded my mouth. And I'm like, well, I tell you what, for $100, I got a guy that'll whip your ass that's wearing a cowboy hat. And I mean, I know BJ's. Hell, his record's whatever. He hasn't lost.
He's really good.
Pretty scrappy. He likes to fight. I'll give him that. He not only ropes good, he fights good. And I knew that.
He is good.
And I had Tanner Bryson with me. I had Turtle Powell with me. I myself am not a fighter, but I thought I was at the time. Tough Hedeman told me, he said, and a guy named Ron Pack said, he said, well, you think you're a bad son of a bitch until you get your ass whipped good just one time if you get it really whipped good. And that was it. That's what it took. That took from me to thinking I could really fight to, nah, I'm not that good. Nah. But anyway, we get in there, and I tell this guy that has a problem with this hat, as the way I remember it, just nearly verbatim. He tells me he doesn't like that hat. And I said, well, I got 100 here that says this fucker over here in this hat can whip you. And I holler at BJ at the time. And so BJ, he comes over there, and he's just as casual as can be. And this guy don't look very big. I mean, he looks like somebody BJ can take. But just one punch like BJ sometimes does. Well, I look over at him, and I said, well, here's the guy. And I said, BJ, this guy said he doesn't like hats. And about that time, BJ's just like, looks, and I kind of figured what he was doing. He's sizing this motherfucker up because BJ was quick about it. BJ starts to take off his coat. And when he gets to just over the shoulder on the right arm, this fucking BJ comes with one and just kind of glazes. And from that glaze, that eventually led to my glaze because I kind of glanced across there and tried to pick the smallest guy out. I'm looking for Caesar. That I can whip. Yeah. Well, there's another guy playing pool, and he must have been friends with the guy that didn't like the cowboy hat. Well, as BJ's trying this motherfucker on and kind of glazed him on the first punch, because if he'd hit him, it'd killed him. This fight escalates. This guy comes over, knocks the piss out of me across my right brow, just splits me open. I lay underneath the pool table, which that's when BJ said that I had started it and hid under the pool table. I didn't have a fucking choice but to lay under there. The guy split my fucking head open and it hurt. So I lay there for a minute. And then when I get up, I'm telling you, it is just as escalated as can be. The fight is happening. I mean, it is going on. There's one going on over here. There's this chaos going over here. Here's Blaine Lineweaver. Here's another friend of mine, Mikey Fletcher. They're all around. And it's just complete chaos. Well, I'm kind of coming too. When I walk out, the first guy that I see is Tanner. Well, Tanner can box. I mean, he can kind of stand up and box and spit around like he's, Rocky Balboa a little bit. He's got his fingers and thumbs out like he's quick-handed, but he's really not. But here's this guy in this, of course, they're tan dickies, and he's got a wife beater shirt on. He's got some prints on, and he's got he's a Spanish man.
You could say he's Mexican.
Well, he's Mexican, all right, and he's a quick, hard-hitting Mexican. Because Tanner would be back there a couple times, and he'd roll up there and act like he was going to hit it. And normally Tanner can connect at least once, and then this fucking guy go whoop 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 whoop, and Tanner just be racked back out of that son of a bitch.
Got to catch his bearings.
He just was right back out of it because Tanner knew, see, I can't stand here with this fucking guy. And then every time Tanner just get a little more confidence, and and I watched this fight the whole time because it's Tanner, it's my bud. All right, so he backs up again. Takes to this little cholo and whoop, 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 whoop. Tanner backs back out of this. Next thing you know, he split across his forehead. And then it's just all chaos. Well, by the time it all kind of had settled, I see Blaine Lineweaver. He's got a chair holding it up like he's the lion tamer. He's trying to talk to some guy. There was 2 people went to jail. I do believe it might have been Mikey and it might have been Blaine. This is the way the story's happening. I'm telling you live today on Tolleson-Mack. This is the fucking way it went down. All of that shit happens. Tanner gets his ass whipped. BJ gets a concussion. This guy continues whoever's whipping on this motherfucker. And then there's poor Turtle. And then there's poor Turtle. All right. So Turtle is a fighter. Turtle is a great fighter. And Turtle was brought up doing it. And it didn't take much to get him to do it. So we're all in there. We'd all done the festivities that afternoon that allowed a man to be bold. So when we get over there, by the time I get to Tanner, he had already been just literally beat to death. Literally. And the reason why I say this is because after it was all said and done, Tanner and I end up at what I call the inside bar. And I'm telling you, the Samoan had cleared the first bar by himself. I don't know how many guys were up there between Joseph Shonago and Troy Murray and them guys, but the fucking Samoan made his way with many. Samoan, you're a bad motherfucker. Now, with that being said, I end up right next to Turtle on 2 bar stools. He looks at me and he goes, he said, Brett, he said, you need to go. Your face is fucking bleeding, fucking covered in blood. And I shit you not, his fucking jaw was just hanging off his fucking face. And I'm like, me? I don't need to go nowhere, motherfucker. Your mouth is hanging off your face. And he's just talking to me, but this one he's tangled with was no joke. To the point, and this is a true story, to the point that the girlfriend of the guy that was just taking it to Turtle with his boots, Turtle was out, and this guy was just booting him. Just 1, 2. This girlfriend finally had to jump over the top of Turtle, and she looked up at him and she goes, whatever his fucking name was, Killer is what I'm gonna call him. He looks up. She goes, stop it. You're going to kill him. And that was the only way that this motherfucker stopped. And then Turtle later, 6 weeks later, was jaw broken, feeding with a straw. I felt horrible. I really did. I'm sorry, Turtle, for that. I started the fucking fight. It was me, but I didn't tell you to do it either. I didn't tell you to stand there and fight. But he would, no matter what. And that's just what guys do. That's the way it happened.
Did the guy get his $100?
You know what? I wanted to pay him at the end, but Tanner and I ended up in the emergency room together. We did. We next thing is just curtains, and then I look over it, and I'm like, "There's Tanner," and he's got basically the same stitches coming across his side as I do this side, and we're just sitting there. But that next morning, Steve Purcell, of course, he's like, "You dumb son of a bitch! I told you not to go to the bar." I'm like, "I know.
He must have known.
I'm a raccoon, bro. I can't see shit." Yeah, and I know I probably had to tell a story about what happened, but that's the way it went down.
We were buddies, and we went to this stupid bar, and Britt come in after the booze cruise, and he'd been doing what he's doing, and pretty quick they're like, "Well, this guy will fight this guy," and like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, hey, if I could have had a ride, I would have left because I was already sick of it. And anyways, this one Navy SEAL feller, they want us to fight for $1,000, and I go, well, that ain't enough money, is it? And he goes, well, it is to me, and I said, well, it ain't to me, because I'd street fought a lot in my life, and I said 5,000. And we ain't doing it tonight because I've been drinking all day. So anyways, when that fight started, I cracked him about 10 times in the face, and I actually knocked the piss out of him. But there was a couple of guys in there that was fucking Billy Bob badass, and I did not do well. So
Britt said that he said when it went down, he goes, I looked for BJ, and I said, he's the toughest son of a bitch I know.
Yeah, I made it outside with this one Indian dude, and he was fucking working me, and I was trying him on, and I wasn't down yet, but he wasn't having much fun. I was giving him a few too, and I still have a scar in the back of my head. I don't know what happened, but Joseph Shawnigo was laying on me, said he's had enough, and then that one fucking swelled my brain, broke my eye socket and shit.
Fuck, it was a real injury. It wasn't no
I
bullshit.
went around the next morning and both events.
Fucking A.
And my brother
Cowboy.
goes, "You don't look good, do you?" I go, "No, I had the best steer in America." One of them good Corrientes we talking about, and that fucker's worth about $20,000. And I was 3'9", and then I was 4'6" or 7 in the team rope, and then I told my partner, "You got to take me to the hospital." So I think when we went through Fresno, Richard took me in there, and my brain was swelled. They give me a shot to take the swelling down, and
Fuck.
And then 2 weeks later, I had a fucking pus pocket in my ass, and the tailbone popped from me hitting my ass hard. But it's okay. I give a lot of guys a lot of fucking beatings in my life, so you know what? I took a few too. It just wasn't like you said. It ain't no fun talking about getting your ass whipped, but like Don Fry says the other day, if you lose one, hell, they won't shut up about it. But if you win, they forget about you.
Don Fry's awesome.
He is, huh?
Well, the way Britt explained it, he said he's standing by the pool table. He got to, he's talking some shit, and he was talking about you, and this is the toughest son bitch I know.
Yeah.
Right here.
Well,
so, and then
that was then.
You talked about it and on the Flatbed podcast, how he was hiding underneath the pool table.
Well, I guess he got knocked under there.
Well, that's what Britt said. He said, "Man, I want to set the record straight."
Oh, it went.
He said, "I got hit, and then that's where I wound up, was in the fetal position
Mikey,
underneath the table. I didn't know where."
Old Fletch helped me out. He grabbed this fucking pool cue or something, was going to crack this guy over it, and he grabbed it from Mikey. Mikey goes, "That ain't good." But we got our ass handed to us, and that it was just one of them deals. It was actually good for me because I didn't bar up the rest of the year,
So Britt said, back to that story real quick. He said something about, was it Lionel Weaver had the chair, and he was like the lion tamer?
Yeah.
he was kind of get back.
Yeah.
Oh, he said, we were down in Mexico doing the festivities that make men bold.
We shouldn't. I don't know. He went down there. I just wasn't my day, I guess.
Just one of the days, man. But the next day, though.
Yeah, next day it was.
I had a hangover.
I'm sure your head was swelled. Did your cowboy hat fit?
No. I had to do the Leo the lion deal.
Kind of the cock to the side a little bit.
I knew I was beat the fuck. Tanner Bryson, his eyes were swelled shut, and I said sorry, and he goes, "Fuck, where's that bread? I'm gonna swell his eyes shut." And he didn't even have hardly a mark on him, and I'm like, "This is fucking handy."
And then what about was it Turtle?
Turtle broke his eye sockets, but and fucked him up. Yeah, he had to take a while off from rodeoing, so.
Jeez. The Turtle, was it the same guy you were scrapping with?
That guy got knocked out, and I kicked the fuck out of him. But really, I did. It was easy because I got the first one on him. Back then, I fucking run a 440 bench press 250. I mean, I could smack him like a motherfucker. But I should have just took but I was rodeoing for a living, I wasn't fighting, and I'm not like I don't like beating up anybody, we used to fight for fun. I grew up with fighters, Billy Holland, King Garcia, my brother, all of us, that's all we ever did after school was just fight like a motherfucker. The res, we're the white kids fighting the res. And it was just something my whole family did.
Yeah.
I mean, they box, fight, kick, throw rocks at each other constantly. So it's nothing to be proud of, but that's what we did. I did a lot of street fighting in my days.
I mean, you have an aura about you, like, like 3 feet away, 5 feet arm
Yeah,
distance. all the
I
time.
was. I could run.
Yeah.
I was pretty athletic, but anyways, that didn't matter. I went to the UFC, but they wouldn't pay me because most city kids now they're all this jiu-jitsu bullshit, But back then we just banged it up and slammed each other.